Today we're going to continue our journey of percent. This is the last thing we're going to do with percent. And we're going to, again, follow the either percent proportion or percent equation, whatever you're comfortable with. Okay, we still got the part to whole ratio here. Part to whole percent is equal to the percent. And then the part is equal to the percent times the whole. So we're still going to use this method, but instead we're going to talk about simple interest. Okay, so interest is either money earned or money owed on a value. So if you're talking about interest, when you borrow money from a financial institution, so a bank, they say, yes, you can borrow the money, but you're going to have to pay a fee to borrow the money. So they're not just going to give you $150,000 for a house, and then you have to pay it back. Not only do you have to pay back the $150,000, but then you also have to pay a certain percentage to borrow that money. Credit cards are the same thing. If you can't afford something and you put it on the credit card, you have to pay back the money that you borrowed and a high interest rate on top of that. Debit cards and credit cards are very different. Okay?
Debit card, the limit is whatever amount of money you have in your bank account. In credit, it doesn't go immediately to your bank account. You have to pay it back on top.
Absolutely. A debit card is the money you have in your checking account. Okay? So however much money is in your checking account, that's the limit that you can spend. A credit card, they give you a limit you can spend. Oh, we're giving you a $5,000 limit. But then you have to pay that $5,000 back and a percentage of that $5,000 on top of it. There's also money earned. So if you invest your money, so into stocks, the stock market, that's an investment. Into bonds, a savings account. That's where you put your money in and you let your money grow, and then eventually you take it out. So retirement accounts, if you ever hear your parents talk about, or your big people at home talk about retirement accounts, they put their money away, a certain portion each month or whatever it is, and then their money grows, so eventually, when it's time for them to retire, they have money that they can live off. Okay? So that's a different kind of interest. Now, the majority of the interest that you're going to deal with as an adult, whether you're borrowing money or whether you're investing, is called compound interest. And compound interest compounds weekly, monthly, yearly, bi-weekly, whatever it is. That's an algebra concept because that's a growth model. We don't do that in 7th grade. We just do very simple interest. It's actually called the simple interest formula. So again, interest that is applied to an initial amount is called simple interest. There's a couple other words. Interest rate is a percent used to calculate interest on the principal. And then the initial amount is called the principal. So the formula that we're going to use for simple interest is I equals P RT. So I equals PRT. Now PRT, these three things are being multiplied together. I stands for interest. P stands for principal. R stands for the rate. And T stands for time. Okay, let's go. Write this down, guys. So again, interest is the money that you're earning or that you owe, the additional money that you owe. Principal is the initial amount of money that you have. So whether it's the initial money that you've invested or the initial money that you have borrowed. Rate is going to be your percent. So that's how much you're either being charged or you're earning on the amount. And then time. Time is the amount of time you have invested or the amount of time that you're borrowing the money. Time is always going to be in years. Okay, so time is always going to be in years. So Victoria opens a savings account with a deposit of $300. What does it mean that Victoria is depositing $300?
She's putting money in.
Very good. She's putting money in. Okay, she's not borrowing money. She's putting money in, and she's going to let that money grow. So $300 is the amount that she's putting in. So which one would $300 represent? I, P, R, or T? P. Very good, because that's our principal. That's our initial investment. She will earn 1 6/10 simpler interest each year on her money. Okay? 1 6/10%. That's our rate. Very good. How much interest will she earn over 5 years, assuming she doesn't take out any money or put any money in? That's our time. Very good. Okay, so that's our T. So when I'm doing this problem, P, R, T, and I. Okay, so I made myself a little key. My principal is $300. My rate is 1 6/10%. My time is 5 years. And I'm finding the interest. Why do you think I do that? Why do you think I make myself a key? Danica, go ahead. Excellent, very good. So when I go to put this stuff in my formula, it's all there for me, and all I have to do is plug it into my formula. My formula is I equals P times R times T. So I don't know my interest, so I'm going to keep that as my variable. My principal is 300 times the rate times the amount of time my money's invested. Okay. Initial value, rate at which my money's going to grow, time that my money's invested. And I got all that information here for my key. What am I going to do with this? I'm going to multiply it. I'm going to put it in my calculator because I don't know what 300 times 5 times 16 thousandths is. I have no idea. So I'm going to use my resources to multiply these three numbers together. Is this investment going to help her retire early? Why? It's only $24. That's not even going to put gas in our car, right? Okay, so yeah, $24 is our interest. Okay, that's not going to help us. So now, even if we put a very large sum of money into this account, it's not going to help us in our It's not going to help us very much in our retirement. So that's why you have to really be diverse in your investments. Now, this is simple interest. We don't retire off our simple interest. We retire off compound interest. But this just shows you that, at this percentage, your money's not going to grow very much, right? So you need to look for things that are higher percentages. You want to be able to put more money in each month. Alright, Victoria has another account at the bank that pays 2.5 simple interest. How much interest will she earn in 8 years on an initial deposit of $250, assuming she neither adds nor withdraws money from that account? So what do we need to do first?
PRTI.
We need to find our pieces and parts, right? So I, P, R, T. Do you know how much interest she's earning? Nope. What's her principal? How much is she initially investing?
$250.
$250. At what rate is she going to earn money?
2.2.
Okay, 2.5%. How long is she going to have that money in there? So once we have all of our information, what do?
Calculate.
We use our formula. I equals P R T. So 250 times 2.5% times 8 years. How much money?
$50.
$50. Again, gonna help us retire early? That might put gas in our car one time, but it's not gonna put gas in my car right now. Not gonna fill up my tank. Maybe halfway. That's about halfway in my tank right now.
Wait, so $100.
The last time I filled up my tank was Alan filled up my tank on Sunday, and I think it was $98.26.
Well, you just diesel?
I have a huge but I use the premium
Oh.
because you had to put premium in my car. But it's a huge car, but it's a good thing we have a big car. I put the car seat in it this week or last week, so Lucy's in the way back, and we got Grayson, Cooper's behind me, so everyone's in ready to go. Yeah. Yes.
Last time I went to school, my sister broke her arm.
She what?
Broke her arm.
Oh, geez. See things that we can't do.
In the ocean, she stepped in a hole,
Oh.
and she was running out of the beach, and she put her hand out, and this, like, right here, just broke.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. All right, so Maya's older sister got a loan to buy a used car for $3,400. What is the interest rate on the loan? Okay, so what do we need to help solve the problem? Okay, so I, P, R, and T. Okay, so she got a loan to buy the used car for $3,400. What does $3,400 represent? Your principal, very good. That's how much she's borrowing. So this, we lend it from Jim's Used Cars, says borrow $3,400 for this car today and pay only $8.50 interest every month.
So we don't know the times. You said I don't want to be in years. No, you would put your 8.5 zeros, your interest, your
Okay, so we don't know right now how many years. What can we assume though? If they don't give us the years, what are we going to assume? It's 1 year, right? But the problem is it says $8.50 every month.
So it's 1 year.
So it's 1 year, right? So if it's $8.50 every month, what do I need to do with that $8.50?
Times by 12.
I have to multiply that by 12 because that's going to give us our interest. So 12 months at $8.50 per month.
So what does that end up being our rate on Spotify Premium?
It is.
It's cheaper than Spotify Premium. That is hilarious. It's cheaper than Netflix.
Yeah.
Cheaper than Disney Plus, right? What is it?
Disney Plus is expensive.
Is it?
Hey, but you can watch the Lego movie.
Exactly.
Okay, so how much interest is she accruing over the whole year?
102.
102. Okay. What amount of time are we investing? Are we borrowing the money for?
1 year.
1 year. So what are we looking for?
Your rate.
We're looking for our rate. We don't know what this is, so we're going to put an X there because we don't know. Could you use R?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely you can use R. So I equals P times R times T. So our interest is how much?
102.
102. Our principal is 3,400. Do we know our rate?
No, so you should do that.
And how much time?
1.
What do we have to do first before we can actually solve?
Think.
Think, yes. It would be nice if you thought, yes.
You'd have to,
You have to multiply these two first.
which would be
3,000.
Before, it is, yeah. But if this was 2 or 4 or 10, you would need to multiply 3,400 times 1 first,
which would be 3,400.
which is 3,400. And then we multiply it times x. So we have to combine like terms before we can actually solve. Right? So that is an extra step that we need to take. So now how do we figure out what x is equal to?
You have to divide.
We have to divide. Because 3,400 is being multiplied by x,
So you have to divide 3,000.
so the inverse would be to divide. So divide on the left and the right. Is this a rate?
Yeah.
Is it? Do you see rates as decimals very often?
No.
So we have to take this decimal and turn it into a what? Into a percent. So we have to scoop how many? We have to scoop twice. Okay? So we have to convert our decimal into a percent. So we multiply it by 100, which our shortcut is 1, 2. So it's actually 3%. All right, your practice problems. So homework is going to be on page 177. And I want you to do 7 through 10. So 4 problems.